Hi everyone, and welcome back to Ships at Sea. Today I thought I'd do a short video just showing an overview of multiplayer. We are on version 0.8.7. Obviously the developers have said there's a lot of features of multiplayer they're planning to bring in, but I'm going to go over it as it is at the moment. The first thing is, because I wasn't sure how multiplayer worked, is I went to Profile Manager and I just started my own new profile. That way, if anything went wrong, I've still got my main profile which I can fall back to for my single player game. So there are limitations of multiplayer at the moment. The most notable for most people is there's no comms, there's no in-game voice or text chat. So that means if you want to communicate with other players, you either have to be Steam friend or you have to already assembled maybe on Discord and be able to communicate with them. If a stranger comes into your game, there's absolutely no way of communicating with them. On that subject, there's also no way of kicking somebody who comes into your game or banning them. There's no password protection at the moment. So that means, obviously, if you're the host and you leave, it will shut the game down. But the moment you go back in, if you're again on a public server or you're running a public game, the player can rejoin. If you're on a server, you'd have to obviously shut your server down. So, what I found is when I joined multiplayer, your profile progress is saved. So if you go in and out of a game, your progress in your profile will advance. However, when you join another player's game, or if a player joins your game, the joining player will enter the game with just 50,000. You don't take any of your ships or any of your money from your own company. You can then join a player's company, and when your money is merged, you can set up your own company, but obviously that company will only exist for as long as that host is online. If you leave a company, you leave with 50,000. Doesn't matter how much progress you've made, how big you've made the company, you will only ever leave with 50,000 and bring that back out. So I would like it eventually where perhaps there's a situation where you could go in, earn some money doing a job, helping people out, and then come out and that money can be almost in your own wallet, but that's not the case at the moment. One thing I did notice is that if I left a company, it would leave with 50,000, then the host would reload an earlier save game, I then rejoin the company, the game would remember I was part of a company at that time and I would reappear as part of that company again. So it wasn't a case I could just keep leaving and spawning back in and generating more money merging each time. So, now that's the limitations dealt with, who really should be playing multiplayer at the moment? Who's going to get the most out of it at the moment? Well, if you've got a group of friends and you want to run an online company, maybe you have a server. If you're an experienced player and you don't mind just going online, joining other people's games just to help them out. If you're a new player and you're joining a more experienced player's company, then it gives you a chance to experience the higher tier ships. You can't operate them unless your profile has the correct license, but you can certainly work on the ship, so you can go fishing on the tier 3. Or maybe if you're a new player who wants to just learn the ropes, again, joining with a more experienced player, they can give you a hands-on tutorial. So, how do we join? So, the first thing that we would do, if I was going to load a game, I'll just load any game here. It's from a different profile, but it's fine. This tab here, you would select it to on, and then you've got server privacy. You've got friends only. That means only your friends in Steam will be able to see your online game. If you select it to public, that means anyone will be able to see your online game and anyone can join. As I said, no password protection. There's probably a slightly different way if you're planning to set your own server up, but I haven't ever gone into that. So let me just come back out of that. I've got my son's got his profile on at the moment, so what I will do is show you how we would join their game. So you'd select join multiplayer, and again across the top you have a few tabs. You have friends, and as you can see this shows all my Steam friends, and it's just showing a player in a multiplayer session which I could join. If I'd selected public, a peer-to-peer server, it would appear here. Okay, obviously there's no service there because none of my friends have got a public game running. And if you're running a dedicated server, as you can see, there's quite a few here. But again, if you don't know people, it's a bit tricky because you're entering their game, you've got no way of communicating with them. They've got no way of letting you know where there's a Discord that you can join. But that will change. So I'm going to select friends, and I select join, and hopefully it should drop me into their multiplayer game, into their company. I've already joined their company. I've been helping them out for a while now. So here we are, and if I board the boat, there's my other player. Okay, just chilling out. If we leave the boat, a few things I've noticed. One of it is a bug, but we've got a fish farm, and as you can see, oh, it's actually, no, it's not working. Where it says available food, for the host, that actually is shown at 8%, but for me, it's shown at 0%. So that's obviously a bug. Hopefully they will sort that out. You can run more than one ship within a company. To do that, what you would do is go to the shipyard. And if I enter, at the moment I'm on Conquest, so if I select to enter at the moment, it will normally request a shared boat. That's because someone else is on this boat, so therefore if they don't vote me in, then I can't go in, because what I wouldn't want to do is go in there and be able to take a boat off somebody who's actually planning to use it. Let's see if I can get out of that. I don't think I can at the moment. What I'll do is I'll just go and get my son just to vote no. Oh, it's gone. I've walked away. So if I want to spawn my own boat, what I would do is enter shipyard. This time select no boat. Then you can select enter. It takes you straight in. I can then go up and I'll just spawn. I don't know. See what there is. Where Conquest is currently active, so let's just spawn Dr. Phil in. Dr. Phil is now, see the 2 boats are now active. And when I go out, it's getting a little dark. I think we'll see the Dr. Phil. I believe there it is. That's the Dr. Phil. And that's the other boat. If no one's assigned to any other boat, it will have a timer above it. I think it's maybe a 30-minute timer, and it will count down. And if no one's on the boat in that time, it will just despawn automatically. So that means, yeah, you can have, he could go fishing, I could do cargo runs. You can do different jobs within the same company. The other thing, long line fishing, is I found sometimes when you go in and you try and buy bait buckets, you can't actually buy bait for the boat. Again, I think it's somehow the game is associating who's actually assigned to the boat. So if you find you can't buy bait for a long line ship, either make sure you're assigned to it or get the other player to buy the bait. I'm not sure if that's an intended feature. So what we'll do now is we'll get on board the boat, and we're going to go for a little drive. One thing I have found with this is that it seems very, very stable. We haven't had many glitches, rubber banding, which I see in some multiplayer games. It actually, what I'm seeing is what the other person is seeing, which is really good. So my plan is we're going to go net fishing. What we'll do, we'll head out. Oh, let's, can we cod? I believe we can net fish cod, so I might just head out to there. So we don't have too far to go. Let's just see if cod can be caught on the net though. I believe it can. Long line net, yeah. So we'll go out there. I mean, obviously, you're going out deep sea fishing. That's a long journey time. So again, what tends to happen is once I'm underway, my son will go on his phone, he'll go off and do something else, and I'll just call him when I'm ready. Hopefully, the developers will be bringing in other stuff which gives you things to do on a journey, so it's a bit more entertaining. But yeah, I've heard people mention there's no fast travel in a multiplayer. If you've got people in your game, you have to be willing to be patient. You have to have patient players. So the plan is we're gonna, as I say, we'll head out. We'll just literally go out to there, do some fishing. And this is where I'm sort of a bit regretting putting the Dr. Phil where I did. I'm a bit worried that I might crash in. Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll just reverse backwards. It's going to be a lot easier. Yeah, this isn't going to be the best, but I'm just going to sort of try and wedge my way out of here, just for purposes of getting on with it. The problem is where I am at the moment, it's really bright sunlight, and yep, so we can damage each other's boats, so I've shown us that. Let's just come backwards. I can barely see the end of a pier. One thing I have noticed, touch wood, is that I'm not getting as much of the lightning effect, the flickering effect on the water. It seems to have really improved. Whether or not that's just because I'm using smaller boats at the moment, I don't know. You can barely see the edge of that. Again, this throttle seems so strange. I'm to go 72% and barely any forward momentum, and then it suddenly lurches forward. Probably because I've got a hard on my rudder, but that's fine. Okay, so we're away. So what I'll do is I'll get out, and it is quite appropriate we're doing net fishing. I haven't done this for a while, but yeah, the money's much better on net fishing, and I'm going to show you with a second player, so much easier to so much easier. If it wasn't so blooming bright, I can actually see what I'm doing. Yeah, the sun's so bright I can't actually see that little dot. I wish there was a way I could enhance that. Turn the sonar on. Anyway, we're off. So what we'll do, let's get out there. I'll jump forward. It's not going to be a long journey. I'll jump forward and then, yeah, we'll fight the sonar and catch up there. See you soon. Keep an eye on the sonar, and I'll just tell him he'll just keep dropping the nets until I tell him to stop. So if I'm watching the sonar and the fish drop off, I can just tell him to hold the nets up while we reposition. So again, when you're single player, the problem is you have to sort of, once you leave the cockpit, you can't watch the sonar anymore. So this is really, really easy. We'll have these nets out really quickly. See, it's actually starting to dry up. I'm going to just, he's going to keep dropping them. I'm going to let him keep dropping them all. How many more have we got to go?
4.
Yeah. If you ever watch my earlier videos, you'll know that me and net fishing never really got on. But since I've been doing this as multiplayer, it's a whole new different thing. It's just chalk and cheese. Is that the last one going out now?
No, one more.
Okay. So once he's thrown the last net out, what we'll do is we'll turn round and we'll head back to the beginning, and then we'll speed up skip time. At the moment, 10 nets, this boat can only take, I believe it's 6 tons. 10 nets will actually bring us in nearly 18 tons of fish. So I'm guessing it's meant to be an inshore boat. You're meant to lay out 3 nets, go back to port, wait, come out, pick up 3 nets, drop another 3. So that basically you've got nets in the water at various points. So you're always going backwards and forwards. Okay, sorry about that background noise. People are at home today, so I unfortunately don't quite have a recording studio set up at the moment. So where's our line of boys? Over there. So it'd be 9 o'clock, 14 hours. I have seen people mention that the weather doesn't really change. I've noticed that as well. You get this sort of fine little bit of drizzle, cloudy sky. Occasionally it goes a little bit clearer. I've never had any real storms, but it is summer. It's June, and obviously I'm not particularly skipping forward huge amounts of time. So over a period of sort of 7 days, maybe the weather doesn't change massively frequently. Of course, you can customise your weather if you want. What we're going to do, we're just going to come to a halt and we're going to skip time. I'll just turn the boat round. Now when you skip time, it's similar to when you go into the shipyard. It's a voting system. So if you want to skip time, you'll select skip time and it's put to a vote, and I guess it's either a majority winds, which if you're all on the same boat is not going to be a problem. However, if maybe one person's doing a cargo job, one person's trying to do fishing, that could cause a problem. So again, you have to be able to work as a team. You have to be with people who have all got similar goals. We'll just position ourselves up. Okay. I'll just get this a little bit better though. So, if we want to skip time, what we have to do, we go to the rest button. I will select again, I select about 14 hours. When I click let's rest, you'll see a vote appear. So he will vote, and because it's 2 out of 2, the time skip happens. And then the easy bit begins. Let's start getting onto the and again, remember on net fishing, I don't think the auto hauler works for net fishing on this boat. It only works for the long line. So he's ready in position. He's got the hauler in place. So all I have to do is, rather than time it and run out, shut the hatch, etc, etc, I can just bring the boat in. Hopefully he'll grab that. He's done that. And then what I can do is I actually can help him. So if I get my yarn hook as well, it's going to be a lot harder. You see, I can help him. I can pick the fish up and I can put it away. I don't have to. But what I normally do is he will start at the back, I will start at the front, and then I will pick the fish up, and then he's pulling the next line in. So it just speeds things up. Alternatively, you could time it and just be he could be bringing the fish in while I'm starting to get myself set up on the next net, which is what I might do next. And then what I generally do is, when we're almost done, so I get to the end, get back on my boat, and I'll start getting us up to the next net. Normally I can see it's finished, but normally he will tell me when the net's in. So we'll just get on to the next net. And compared to, again, if you've ever watched some of my really early videos doing this, where it was an exercise in frustration. There we go. Start hauling it in. And what I can do is I can just start lining myself up to this. You can take 3 people on this boat. So what could also, if you had a third person, they could be doing a gut in. So I just hover nearby, start just gently coming up onto that next net, and we'll just do that for all all 10 nets. And if I cut the power, yeah, normally he would be telling me. He's been a bit quiet because he knows I'm recording, but normally he would be telling me the net's in. So if you can tell me when the net's in, mate.
Okay.
And 2 lots of 10 nets normally brings us about sort of 1.3 million. I mean, it's not the most profitable way, but it's, you know, when I'm playing this game, it's not about just earning the most money that you can. It's about doing the thing you enjoy. And hopefully that net's in. Oh, it's not quite, so I'm going to just try and keep myself hovering here. I'm hoping that's the last fish.
That net's in.
Okay, so we should be able to go forward and you'll be able to grab that next one really quick. Yep, brilliant. Yeah, so when I'm playing multiplayer, yeah, yeah, it's chalk and cheese. I really, really enjoy it. It's the problem with this world is it can feel a bit empty. Having some other players working with you, someone to talk to, yeah, it really ups the game in my opinion. Okay, I'm just going to overshoot that one, so I'll just come back a little bit. Hopefully you can just grab that.
That line's in.
Go on, man. You got another one. What I'll probably do is I will skip ahead to bringing in the last lines. I won't make you endure watching all of this, so we will probably skip ahead now. So we're just picking up the last line. Okay, problem is I can't really see where my dot is, so I'm not as good as I could be. Still speeds it up. Great. Hang on, is that still got a dot on it? I can't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because of the sun, I can't see where my dot is, so it's not easy for me to get on there. Oh, I'll de-equip my hook, that might help. Okay, so now what happens is he's going to go to do the gutting, and while he does that, I'm going to head back towards Rost. Equally, I can actually be putting more nets out, so I could put an autopilot if I've still got a good fish in. While he's getting, I could be running out and just dropping the nets in for the next lot, save a bit of a job. He will also do a little bit of sorting once he's gutted them. I think I've got some cod, but he will normally be gutting them and then he will sort them out, makes it easier to sell. So there's multiplayer. I hope you found that little guide useful. Obviously, if you've got any questions, please ask. I think multiplayer on this game is brilliant. There's not many ship games that actually do offer multiplayer, and we've done cargo jobs. It's much quicker because we can load the cargo twice as fast. We've done a little fish farm, and again, unloading those fish sacks, again, much more effective. So really is a game changer. As I said, what I'd really like to see is where I can come into his company, maybe he can let me work on my boat, do some fishing, and then put amount of money into my wallet, or maybe I get a proportion of the profits from the trip, which is pre-agreed, and then I can take that money and merge it with my own company's money outside the online game. As always, I appreciate you taking the time to watch. If you've got any questions or any opinions, or if you think I've got something wrong, please feel free to correct me in the comments. As I said, I haven't extensively tested multiplayer, but hopefully I will see you all again soon. Until then, take care. Goodbye.